Hi, welcome back. I'm going to continue on with chapter 30, How to Have a Happy Day, Rules for Decisions. But first of all, I'm just going to say a prayer. Holy Spirit, you be in charge. So that frees me up of knowing anything, knowing how to say anything on this video. I'll just allow the Holy Spirit to speak through me. Rules for decisions. Decisions are continuous. You do not always know when you are making them, but with a little practice with the ones you recognise, a set begins to form which sees you through the rest. So what Jesus is saying here, that we're actually always making decisions. They're continuous. So something that's continuous never stops. So he's saying that in our minds, we are actually in a constant state of making decisions. And he's saying that we do not always know when we're making them. So he's saying we think we know when that, I've made a decision, to go and buy a cup of coffee, but he's saying that we actually don't know that we're making these decisions. But with a little practice, with the ones you recognise, a set begins to form which sees you through the rest. So he's just saying that that the actual decisions that we recognise, the ones we recognise, if we can put the set of rules to those decisions, that all those rested decisions will finally, the rules that we're applying to the ones that these decisions that we actually recognise, all the other decisions that we're not aware of, these rules will be automatically applied to them. It is not wise to let yourself become preoccupied with every step you take. So what he's saying here is don't become preoccupied with every decision you make. And, your mind, because he's saying we're constantly making decisions. So we're not to become too... it's not going to be helpful if we try to focus on every little decision we have in our mind. The proper set, adopted consciously each time you wake, will put you well ahead. So he's asking us to adopt consciously every time we wake up from sleeping in the morning or whenever you're waking up, to consciously adopt these set of rules. So it's really helpful to just in the morning when you wake up to sit quietly, if you do some other sort of meditation and whatever else you do, to include this practice and adopt it consciously. So this consciously, adopting this consciously is about being really, really willing to do this, to be mindful all during the day. That today I'm going to be mindful to practice this rules for decision, these rules that we're given. And if you find resistance strong and dedication weak, you are not ready. Do not fight yourself. Now this is another important part that he's put in here, because there's going to be times where we're not ready to do this. We might read it and just say, I don't want to do this. There's some ego, massive, you can get some really, really massive ego resistance to this. So it's just saying, look, don't fight yourself. Just rest. Don't do it. Give it up. Don't feel guilty about it. Just okay. We're not to fight ourselves. So we're not to go into... fighting is like attacking ourselves for not doing it. We're not good enough for doing it. And, So he's just saying, okay, just let it drop. Because everything about the Course is working with this harmony. The Holy Spirit is harmony, peace, love. So here we go. But think about the kind of day you want and tell yourself there is a way in which this very day can happen just like that. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about this as we get over the page. But so what he's suggesting is that we can imagine the kind of day we want, the experiences we want to have, the things that we want to happen to us. And so what he's asking us to do is first thing in the morning when we get up to just join with God in our minds, to get really still and quiet, still our minds, and to think about the kind of day we want to have. And so you can do it in quite a general way. I've basically, for me, it's been around imagining people just joining with me in laughter and just delightful, peaceful, helpful, caring, kind experience. Just people being caring, people being helpful, me being helpful. Just this really beautiful outpouring, heart opening of a loving presence, of feeling this love, feeling this kindness, feeling this helpfulness from others, and myself responding. So that's a really beautiful thing. I'll go into a little bit more detail later on about some other things that I've done and some really beautiful experiences that I've had from using this, how to have a happy day. So he's saying that there's a couple of steps, and the first thing we need to do is we need to practice this going into our mind and imagining the day that we want to have. So it's very important. So if you're going to work, when I was working in an office, I was using this, and I would imagine that all the people in the office were really happy and really helpful and sharing knowledge around, and if someone had a problem on their computer or something like that, there was somebody there to help. So it wasn't just about things happening to me. It felt like an environment of love, helpfulness, and joining up in this really beautiful, happy work environment. And so that's the first step, is that we've become mindful of imagining this and sitting with that, and getting specific in terms of not exactly what people would say or how they would do it, but just this mindset of just seeing everything going well. And in terms of it's not like we're going to imagine, that we're going to be pulled in to get a pay rise. That may actually happen, but this practical guide is more around the feelings. I think it's like the experiences, and the experiences, I want to experience happiness, I want to experience joy, I want to experience people giving and receiving, and just this lovely joining. So it's more around getting into that mindset of just this love and how this love comes through. So that's the first step. The second step is the outlook starts like this. Today I will make no decisions by myself. So what he's saying here is that you will actually have that exact day. You will have that happy day, that peaceful day, that beautiful feeling all day if I make no decisions on my own. And by my own, he means my ego. I make no decisions referring to the ego mind that I am generally in. So this is great. This is a whole teaching on how to have a happy day every day for the rest of your life. To be continued.